Hello and welcome back to a very special bonus episode of the Evolution of Horror. My name is Mike and as ever I am your host. Now today marks a very important date in the calendar for horror lovers. Today is the unveiling of the lineup, the full programme for Frightfest 2018. Very, very exciting. Now, Frightfest, I'm sure most of you know, it's one of the world's biggest horror movie festivals. It takes place every year here in London, in Leicester Square, across 5 days at the end of August. While most people are out there enjoying the August bank holiday sun, a bunch of us are sat in the dark watching back-to-back movies for 5 solid days. I absolutely can't wait. So ticket and weekend passes come on sale this Saturday. That's Saturday the 30th of June. But today, as I mentioned, as you'll see online, they have now unveiled the full lineup of films at the festival. So I thought this would be a good chance for me to chat to the guy who started it all, one of the co-founders of Frightfest. He's here to give me the lowdown. For any of you maybe considering going to Frightfest for the first time, we can tell you a little bit about what to expect and what are some of the good films to look out for at this year's festival. So, joining me to discuss all things Frightfest, his first time on the podcast, I'm very excited to have him here. It is my great pleasure to welcome the legend, Paul McEvoy. Paul, welcome.
Hello, Mike.
Hello.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, no, it's wonderful. Thank you so much for being here on what I imagine is quite a busy week for you right now.
Yeah, it's pretty insane, but I think everything's in the right place.
Yes. So now tell me, I'm sure most people, horror fans out there listening to this, I'm sure are aware of you, but tell me a little bit about you and kind of what your involvement is in this incredible festival.
Well, thank you. I'm Paul McEvoy, and I'm the co-director of Frightfest. Mm-hmm. I actually came up with the idea for the festival way back when, and I got Alan Jones and Ian Rattray involved in the event. Obviously, prior to Frightfest, there was always Shock Around the Clock.
Yes.
Which you're probably too young to remember.
But I know that was Alan's festival.
That was Alan and Stefan Jawazan, which is like a spin-off of the Shock Express magazine.
Right.
So most of those were held at the Scala. And then I think they took it to the Notting Hill screen on the whatever it is in Notting Hill. Then I think one year they did it in the BFI.
Wonderful.
Then it stopped for quite a few years for many reasons. So I just had the idea of, we need a genre festival in the UK that's, as good as a lot of the ones internationally. And London Film Festival were not giving me any genre at all for many, many years.
No.
They literally shied away from the entire genre. So I thought, well, if they're ignoring it, this important, science fiction, horror, fantasy, thriller, I've got to try and do something myself. So that's what happened.
Wonderful.
So 19 years later, here we are. The monster. Over the years, we've grown bigger and bigger. So this year, for example, we're incorporating both the Cineworld Leicester Square, which is the big IMAX screen, and the Impact screen, which are not, we can't call them that, but that's where it is.
Right.
So we're running 3 screens at Cineworld, and we're running 2 screens at the Prince Charles. So we're actually running 5 different films at any given time during the 5 days.
Incredible.
So it's a behemoth.
It absolutely is. It's incredible. I know that a lot of listeners have kind of tweeted and Facebook to say, they're keen to go, but it's one of those things where it's like, if you don't have any sort of fellow horror fans to go with, do I go by myself? That kind of thing. I mean, what would be your response to that?
My response to that would be, it's the most welcoming community certainly in the country, almost in the world.
Yeah.
People dip their toe in and go and see one movie, and they're like, oh, I must come back, or I must get a weekend pass or a day pass, or the full weekend pass. But it's all about the community, it's all about the atmosphere, it's all about the friends you're going to make over the weekend. The films are a massively important part of it, of course, as are the guests. We don't really encourage the whole red carpet. The guests are there, they can't mingle with the fans. We encourage everybody to mix and match. And come and karaoke with us, and come and party with us, and the talent, and just, it's a party, it's a friendship thing, it's a family. I mean, literally, a lot of the community call it the Frightfest family, and it really, really is. I mean, even if you just experiment with one movie, you're going to get sucked into the whole atmosphere.
It's so true. It's wonderful, isn't it? And people come back year and year. I mean, it's got a real kind of loyal fan base now, hasn't it?
That's from around the world, actually.
From around the world,
yeah. People flying in from every country under the sun. Plus, of course, Londoners as well, so everybody's welcome.
Yes. So tell me, what's the difference as well, just for people who don't know, in terms of what you get from different screens? Because you kind of got the main screen and then you've got the smaller ones. Is that right, in the Prince Charles?
That's right. So we how we've done it over the years, I mean, when we used to be at the Odeon, when we were at the Prince Charles before, we were pretty much forcing people to watch the same movie, excuse me, at the same time.
Yes.
Whereas now, I liken it to Glastonbury,
yes.
or Guillermo likens it to Woodstock, where if us two were going to go, I would want to see Radiohead, you might want to go and see the Rolling Stone, I don't know, whoever, or Aphex Twin or something like that.
Yeah.
So we're going to be there together, but we'll all each go and see different things.
Yes.
And that's how it works now. So you look at the brochure, and I always say to people, look at the schedule carefully. Because not that we're showing many zombie films, but if I like zombies and you're not keen on zombies, and you read the synopsis and says, zombies or vampires or thriller, then if that's not your bag or your cup of tea, then go and see something else. So make your own decisions, make them wisely.
Yeah.
We still have the main screen, the two main screens at the Cineworld. So that's the enormous things where, and we'll show things twice there. So I think it's like they're staggered. So, for example, there'll be a movie at 11 o'clock on one of the main screens, then it will play at 11:30 in the other one. But we're also running the other screens alternately with different movies as well. So, yeah.
Fantastic. And it's not just, I suppose, I mean, it's general kind of genre movies, I suppose. It's not just sort of quote-unquote horror, is it?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Horror, science fiction, fantasy and thriller.
Yeah.
So, just as a broad example, over the years, some of the premieres that we've had would include, Pan's Labyrinth, Donnie Darko, Let the Right One In, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and a whole bunch of splatter stuff as well. So that gives you some indication as to the broad church and the broad range. Because if we were just we're actually showing 70 films this year, 70, and if they were all hardcore gore horror, I would be bored and the audience would be bored.
Yes.
Not that I'm dissing hardcore gore horror, and there are lots of elements of that within the structure of what we're showing, but that would be ridiculous. So the genre encompasses every country. I mean, there's dozens of countries taking part in this year's event. So
amazing. It must take so much thought between all you guys to decide kind of when you screen what and where everything goes.
Oh my goodness, the puzzle is enormous and ever changing.
But kind of a fun puzzle, I bet.
Yeah, well, I suppose so. Yeah. To a degree.
Does it come to blows at any point? I imagine it must get quite heated at times.
So as I say, this year we've got it's 70 premieres, so that's 70 features. Playing over the 5 days, all of which are UK, world or European premieres. And we have around about 200 to 300 directors, actors, actresses, producers, musicians. I was going to say magicians then, but
Why not?
But no, everybody involved with the movies coming in from around the world. We haven't announced the guest list yet because that is like we were saying about the actual titles announcement. That's an ever movable, ever changing feast.
Yes.
So we will announce the guests, but that's not for another 4, 5, 6 weeks.
Yeah, wow, fantastic. Okay, so and today, on the day this has gone out, the programme's just been announced.
Yes,
incredible. Finally, exactly. So I thought this would be a good opportunity to ask you some of your sort of personal picks, some of the biggies that people shouldn't miss out on. Any of your other sort of personal, if there are any kind of hidden gems in there that you personally might want to recommend.
There's plenty of hidden gems, and it's always very difficult to pick favourites. It's like picking favourite children.
I suppose what would be good, maybe what I'll do is I'll sort of say to you, for people who might like this particular type of movie, what could you recommend, or vice versa? And I'm gonna be testing your memory a bit here, aren't I? But we'll see how we go. So first of all, I mean, what would you say? What are the kind of big ones to shout about this year? What are the kind of what you might call the headlining, I suppose?
Well, there's loads.
Yeah.
But although the big movies are massively important, of course they are. But the undiscovered gems and the little ones that nobody have heard about yet.
Yes.
Are the exciting ones.
Yes.
So, for example, last year we did Low Life, which blew the roof off.
Wonderful.
Don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah,
great film.
Yeah.
Finally getting its audience now over the last few months. And another one which we did was Imitation Girl, science fiction movie.
That was my favourite of last
terrific.
year. Yeah.
So this year I've got so there's a brilliant movie from New Zealand called Mega Time Squad.
Great.
Which is absolutely off the chain hilarious, quotable to the nth degree.
Love it.
Ultra sweary, but brilliant performances, brilliantly done. Mega Time Squad, one of my absolute favourites.
Ooh, okay. What kind of? So is this kind of sci-fi type of genre?
It's a science fiction fantasy. definitely in the comedy element as well.
Great,
to the max,
great.
But it's brilliant. I absolutely love it.
Okay, amazing. All right.
One of the big trends this year, which I'm really excited about, because we've always supported female genre directors.
Yes.
And we never look when we get the submissions, we never take into account gender, because that shouldn't be the reason for choosing anything.
Yes.
But this year, there's been an incredible wave of female-directed movies which we've selected.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, we're opening with Jen Wexler's The Ranger,
great.
which is a slasher. It's punky, it's exciting, and it's a perfect opener.
Nice.
That's just one out of the many. There's another movie called, one you might have heard of, that we showed in Glasgow. We're doing a repeat screening of it in England, something like the English premiere, of an absolute masterpiece called Tigers Are Not Afraid.
I've heard so much about this. Yeah, very excited.
And it is one of the greatest films we've ever shown. So we're doing a repeat screening of it in London, because a lot of people, we did it in Frightfest Glasgow in February, but a lot of people got waylaid because of the snow and the nightmares that came with that.
Yes.
So that's incredibly exciting to have that as well. Yeah, and another one which is co-directed by a female is Summer of '84, which is the new one from the RKSS folks. If you remember, they did Turbo Kid. This is a great film as well.
Wonderful.
And then there's a movie called Braid, which we got the European premiere of as well. Another female director.
Great.
First time female director, which is great. And The Devil's Doorway by Ashlynn Clarke, brand new talent, which is it's set in the 70s. It's not found footage, but it kind of is. But the big twist on that is the fact it's 16mm.
Oh, great.
So it's all shot on actual 16mm film.
Yeah.
Set in the 70s. Devil's Doorway, absolutely superb.
Oh, that sounds fantastic. Okay, what about then if people are, for proper kind of, for scares, what would you recommend?
For scares? Okay, I would definitely go for Atarados, which is translated as terrified.
Nice, okay.
And it really will scare the pants off of everybody.
Great.
That's the other exciting wave this year that we found. People always ask, is there any trends and stuff? So both the female genre directors is an exciting trend.
Brilliant.
And the other thing is the South American trend.
Okay, yeah.
So there's a bunch from the South American countries. So we've got a new one called Crystal Eyes, which is terrific. Terrified, or Atarados, which I just said.
Lovely.
Luciferina, which is another really strong one. Lots of devilly stuff in that. And obviously Tigers Are Not Afraid from Mexico, from Issa. And there's one called Cult of Terror, which is a documentary about the South American genre scene. So yes,
wonderful.
Lots of good stuff.
Wonderful. It sounds great. And, there always seems to be as well every festival. There are ones that I think tend to divide people. Like, for instance, last year, Attack of the Adult Babies. That seemed to create quite... I remember speaking to some people who loved it, had so much fun with it, other people who hated it.
Which is fine, because all art is divisive.
Of course it is.
And we're going to agree on a bunch of movies that we both love.
Yes.
There's also going to be a bunch that I love that you don't, and vice versa.
Exactly.
So,
and that's all the fun of it, isn't it? You come out and you talk about it afterwards.
So I think with Frightfest, we are purely we don't make the films, but we are purely a reflection of where the genre is today.
Yeah.
For good, for bad, for whatever. You're right, with something like Attack of the Adult Babies, it was divisive. Of course it was. And it was really unusual, like I was saying before about read the brochure.
Yes.
Okay, if you see a film called Attack of the Adult Babies with that kind of synopsis, what are you expecting? Are you expecting us to show an art house piece or not? Because, that was the thing. People came out, that was a bit child.
That was a bit silly.
Yeah. What were you expecting? It's...
Is there anything off the top of your head along those lines this year that you think, this could be one that will get people talking or could divide people? Or...
Well, the closing film is going to be a hot potato, shall we say, because we love it, and it's the perfect closer. It's Gaspar Noé's CLIMAX, which we love. I mean, but some people are going to come out and go, what the actual fuck was that?
Yes.
In a good way.
Yes.
And it's going to look and sound amazing on those screens, because it's wall-to-wall music. Everything from Soft Cell to Gary Newman to Daft Punk to Aphex Twin to Cerrone. And it's disco inferno. I mean, it really
incredible,
and it's the perfect climax to the Arrow Video Frightfest.
Yes,
because that's an Arrow title. I don't know when they're putting it out. They haven't dated it yet.
Great.
But Climax is gonna. I think it's going to divide the audience in a good way, and it's also going to be a talking point as well. Because if you showed a lot of stuff that's just bland, that was fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's good to have people passionate about
Absolutely.
stuff. I mean, one of my favourite films this year, which a lot of people don't like, is Mother. Which I absolutely loved.
Yeah,
but I can understand that if people don't dig it, that's their prerogative.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm right and they're wrong, and that's the way it all should be. You know, in terms of music, in terms of artwork, in terms of film, in terms of TV. Everybody's got their own right to an opinion. Everybody's right. Everybody's wrong.
Yes, it's so interesting, and it's all part of what's so great, including things like these podcasts. People love to discuss this kind of thing. People love to disagree or dissect things, or talk about what was good, what wasn't. And I suppose Gaspar Noé, at least people all know that with Gaspar Noé, his films are divisive generally, aren't they? And you're going to get something maybe a bit out of the ordinary, and it's fantastic though. What a brilliant closing movie!
It's
very
the perfect
exciting.
Climax to
yes, exactly.
When we found out we'd got it, because we have to jump through hoops to get everything.
Oh god,
we were like, this is the perfect one.
Yeah,
the perfect one.
Wonderful. Any other any other titles, sort of biggies like that are worth mentioning?
We got the UK premiere of Pascal Laugier's Incident in a Ghost World, or Incident in a Ghost Land. I can't remember which title is it. Is it Ghost World or Ghost Land?
Land, as
Incident
far as I'm
in
aware.
a Ghost Land. Yes, that's right.
Oh my god!
Because also they keep changing the top. They were going to change it just to Ghost Land, and of course there was Ghost World. So obviously we did.
I thought it was just called Ghostland, so they've changed.
No,
it.
They've actually reverted it back to the original title,
Interesting.
which is terrific. I don't know if you remember, we premiere screened years ago Martyrs. I remember introducing that on Leicester Square, saying, my goodness, this is one of the most strong films ever shown.
Yeah.
And this is a great, another really great Pascal movie.
Oh, is it kind of comparable to Martyrs in terms of?
Martyrs for me is a masterpiece.
Yeah.
It's one of the greatest genre films, if not of all time, certainly of the last 10 or so years.
I agree.
And again, some people don't like it, which is their prerogative. Whether it's as good as that, I don't know, because that's such a hard act not to follow. This is just different. Whereas it's got some of the same kind of, the Pascal beats to it. But it's a really, really great film.
Oh, that's very exciting. Very, very exciting.
And one of the ones I'm ultra excited about, again, a few years ago, we did I think it was the UK or European premiere of a movie called Detention, which is Joseph Kahn, one of the greatest music promo video directors of all time. He's done everything from Taylor Swift to Britney and all that kind of stuff. So we've got the UK premiere of his brand new one, which is called Bodied, which is certainly not. It's probably the least genre picture we've ever shown.
Okay,
it's a battle rap picture produced by Eminem, the artist Eminem.
Yeah,
and it is absolutely phenomenal. I mean. How can I describe it? Well, it was in Midnight Madness last year, which is obviously a genre strand of TIFF of Toronto.
Yes.
And it then played in Fantastic Fest last year. And it blew the roof off both of those places. But it has no discernible genre elements in it. But when we saw it, A, we loved it. B, it's so non-PC, for one.
Good.
And it kind of feels like a superhero movie with the most dysfunctional superheroes you've ever met.
Yes.
And because they're all battle rappers in this community, but they're all such almost like caricatures of themselves.
Brilliant.
And that's one that we're going to be showing at the Prince Charles, and it's a complete banger. I absolutely love it.
Oh, amazing.
So Bodied is another one too. Definitely watch out for, but don't go in expecting knives, gore, blood.
Yes. It's just going to be something a bit different.
Just go in with your eyes and mind open, and
Absolutely.
I think you'll dig it.
Amazing. What about then? It might be one we've already touched upon, but if for the gore hounds out there, then if somebody does want a bit of proper splattery goodness, what could you recommend there?
Okay, well, there's a bunch. I love a movie, and this will be the world premiere of a brand new, brilliant talent. Guy called Orson Oblowitz, which is a fantastic name for a director.
Brilliant.
Anything Orson is good.
And Oblowitz, that's great. You're going to remember that.
Oblowitz.
Yes.
Now, his previous movie, which hasn't been shown over here, but we watched and loved, is something called The Queen of Hollywood Boulevard.
Right.
That was his first picture. And it was very David Lynchian, a bit Nicholas Winding Refn-esque.
Great.
And it's honestly, we're not showing that, but you should definitely try and seek it out. It's not got any distribution currently.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll turn up at another festival. Maybe we'd love to have shown it, but we couldn't fit it into the programme.
Yeah.
But we do have the world premiere of his brand new film, which I always get the title wrong, but I'm not going to now. Hell is Where the Home Is.
Hell is Where the Home
Which is proper splattery. Fairuza Balk is in it. And it's going to blow the audience away. It's really gory, really stylish, really fantastic. It's one, I think this is so under the radar that as of whenever this podcast goes out, which I think is about an hour like after we've made the announcement.
Yes.
So I think as of an hour ago, it would have suddenly popped onto people's radars.
Great.
But it's a really, really great splatter picture.
Exciting.
And another good one, probably not as gory as Hell, but it's kind of up there, and I really, really, really dig it, is we've got the world premiere of He's Out There, which is a really strong horror picture.
Yes.
With one of the stars in it from The Handmaid's Tale that I love, love, love.
Oh, amazing.
Which is a great television. I don't know if you're watching.
God.
Handmaid's
talk
Tale.
about terrifying
It's
as well.
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay, anything else that you think might be worth a mention?
Yeah, I love, and this is a big studio picture from Universal, Leigh Whannell's Upgrade. Which it's high concept, it's science fiction, it's action, it's gory, it delivers, it's the perfect Saturday night film.
Wonderful.
It's just, brilliant.
Leigh Whannell, of course, is the man who was behind and starred in Saw and a bunch of other movies since.
Yes.
You know,
but this is a real big studio audience crowd pleaser.
Great.
That we love, and that's the other great thing about Frightfest is when the audience are in the mood for everything.
Yeah.
It's unlike anything else. It's just like a football match, and
it really is.
In a good way, a football match. You know? Not a bad football match, a good football match.
Yeah,
but
totally.
It's a real warmth and a real feeling in the room that you cannot get in many other. I've never experienced it at any other festivals around the world.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
So,
and also as part of the programme, I've just got to ask you quickly as well, Sam Ashurst, who has been on this podcast from the Arrow video podcast as well, his directorial debut is going to be playing at the festival, is that right?
It is, yes. We have the world premiere.
The world premiere. Frankenstein's Creature. That's
Frankenstein's
called,
Creature, yes.
Amazing.
It's a very theatrical piece, shall we say.
Yes.
Brilliant performance. It's very experimental.
Yes, he was telling us about it.
Very experimental.
Yes.
And Sam's a good guy.
He is.
And we showed his short a couple of years ago. So this is his first feature, his feature debut. It's good to support.
Absolutely.
The talent. So,
wonderful.
Really unique.
What do you prefer generally? Because I remember last year thinking, last year we were lucky in that we got a lot of quite big franchisey ones. We had Leatherface and Chucky and a couple of others. The year before, I remember thinking there weren't really any at all, but there were all these little gems. There was Under the Shadow and The Love Witch and Train to Busan and all these brilliant little sort of undiscovered gems. I mean, what are your kind of thoughts on that? Do you sort of prefer to sort of introduce, I suppose, these kind of undiscovered gems?
Well, for me personally, it's lovely to show, and I can't think of any franchisee movies that we're showing this year, which is unusual because you're right. Last year it was obviously the big Chucky premiere, and it was the Leatherface reboot, wasn't it?
Yes. Something else as well.
I might be wrong, but Hatchet was last year.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
I can't think of any sequels this year.
Yeah.
Which is either a good thing or a bad. And in answer to your question, I always prefer the excitement of introducing the audience, which I think I can infect the audience with my infectiousness of like,
yes,
you're gonna. I hope you love this one.
Yes,
and I'm so excited to show it to you. And that's genuinely how I feel about a bunch of the movies this year. Some of the ones that we talked about already, the Mega Time Squad. I can't wait for the audience to see that.
Yeah,
and I hope they get as much out of it as me. So I think actually it's more exciting to discover brand new things.
Yeah.
Because then people probably won't go in with so many preconceptions.
Yeah.
And also it means that there's lots of fresh new stuff coming. That's the exciting thing.
Wonderful.
Seriously. I mean, I'd encourage your listeners to check out the website and check out the sheer amount of stuff that we're showing, because I haven't even touched on so many of the titles.
But I couldn't. We'll be here all day.
We'd be here for another 3 hours. I'm just thinking about another 5 that I haven't mentioned. But I think the excitement is in discovering them for your audience, both in terms of reading about them, and some people religiously read every single word from Alan Jones's synopsis, and they'll immediately look at the trailers and examine the posters. Then there's a lot of people who come to me and say, well, actually, I'm going in completely blind. They don't want to know anything about it, no spoilers, and they don't want me to reveal anything about the title. Just if they like the look of the title, they'll go and see it.
Yeah, I must admit, I am more like that way. I love to just sit down for the day and just let them all wash over me one by one, not knowing anything about what to expect.
It's so difficult, isn't it? As a fan, which obviously we are. When you get the new trailer for I don't know, whatever it is has dropped, and you're like, I really want to see it, but do I want to? So it's a real tough conundrum, isn't it? Because sometimes you can get way too much from the trailer, or it can send you in a totally wrong direction of, I expect that, but it's that. So
what do you think of just going off piece slightly, the trailers for things like Suspiria and Halloween? Did you watch them? And because there was a lot of hype, a lot of talk, wasn't there? It was almost like there's a countdown to a trailer. It was almost like a trailer for a trailer dropping and that kind of thing, wasn't there? It's crazy.
I like the look of the Suspiria movie.
I do as well.
I think they've taken it in a way that they couldn't have replicated the brilliance of Argento's original. So they had to do it in a different, with a different spin. So it certainly still looks like a 1970s picture.
Yeah, it does.
Apparently it's 2.5 hours long.
Wow.
So that's going to be interesting.
Oh my God.
And I don't know if you've seen, but somebody's overdubbed because obviously Tom York's done the score for the new Suspiria, and I think somebody's overdubbed the original Goblin track over the new trailer,
right? Yes,
which works really, really well.
Does it? That's brilliant. Yes. It almost had more of a look of something like Possession or something from the trailer,
which I love.
Didn't it? Yeah, me too.
So I think that's a good way that they've kind of spun it.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
We'll see. It's a weird one. I think it comes out. I think Amazon have got it, haven't they?
Yes, it will be. I wonder if it will be a kind of award season-y, later this year.
Well,
sort of
I don't know
time.
if it's going to win the award, but let's see. You never know.
Luca Guadagnino,
I'm looking
you never
forward
know.
to it anyway.
Yeah. And what about Halloween? What were your thoughts on that one?
Well, Halloween, I think they haven't finished it yet, have they? They're doing reshoots or something. I thought the trailer looked okay.
Yeah.
I think it looks interesting. I mean, we'll all go and see it.
Absolutely, that's it.
And I love the Michael Myers character.
Yeah.
The trailer with that one revealed a bit too much of the story. I think it kind of gave you a lot of the beats.
Yes, it felt like it was
you're
like
on that compound in the prison or whatever it is. Then he escapes in the style that we've seen in many, many, many films where the prison truck overturns.
Exactly,
and then he goes on the killing spree. Anyway, but look, I'm sure it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big franchisey thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So.
And how do you think, you've, the amount of film, over the last 19 years, the way you've tracked the genre, how do you think it's gone? A lot of people are talking about, right now, are we in some sort of a golden age of horror? Is that true? Or has it always been like this?
I think it's always been like this, and I think the press always seem to pick up every now and again of, horror's on the resurgence.
Horror's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or, no, that one's not horror, so it's it's made too much money, or it's too artsy.
Yes.
No, of course, I think, I don't know your personal thoughts, but I'm hoping you're with me that horror is horror is horror.
Absolutely.
And genre is genre.
Yeah.
This elevated stuff, fuck that noise.
Yeah.
Such and such. So I think horror is horror, and it always will be a successful box office thing, because I'm using Blair Witch, which is the obvious example which everybody uses, but that was made for such small amounts of money. Then it went on to do enormous amounts. Didn't it? It was made for, I don't know, $1 million or less.
Yeah, I think it was less even. Yeah.
And then it made 800 million worldwide or something. So I think horror is one of the very few genres left where you can. It's all about the idea. It's all about the concept. It's not about who's in the film. It's about what is delivered on screen for the audience.
Yeah, you're totally right. Yeah.
And I don't think it'll ever go away. I mean, obviously, you're going back to your question again. The 19 years, we've seen waves and trends. There was the huge Asian resurgence or insurgence back in the day when we started. So we had stuff like Old Boy, Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance, Battle Royale, The Eye, The Ring, The Grudge, you name it.
I know.
Sort of Audition. So, there was a lot of exciting Asian stuff. And then every year there is some interesting Asian stuff in this year's as well, which I haven't even touched upon. But it seems over the last few years, and obviously Busan was a possible exception, nothing's really struck us as being wonderful. That's a question to you. I mean, Asian stuff has really excited you in the last few years?
No, you're totally right.
Maybe they're due for resurgence in much the same way that we noticed the trend a few years ago with the exciting French New Wave.
Oh, God, yeah.
Which we championed and showed. Obviously, Martyrs, which we mentioned. À l'intérieur, which is an absolute blinder.
Incredible.
Never forget showing that UK premiere.
Yeah.
5 o'clock in the morning at the ICA to the Frightfest audience.
Oh, my God.
They had no idea what the hell was coming for them.
It's amazing.
In front of Buckingham Palace. I remember saying,
oh my God.
And then there was Frontiers at the same time as well, another terrific one.
Brilliant movie.
And then again, the French seem to have died away a little bit from the genre scene. Yeah. And now, again, as I mentioned before, it's the South Americans that are delivering the most exciting stuff.
Yes.
I mean, we're showing a bunch of it this year, 5 or 6 movies from the South American territories, which are so exciting.
That's really interesting, isn't it? Yeah, it's
and
funny
Spain
how
never goes away. Spain's always been pretty solid.
Yeah,
Italy, wildly, not wildly, yes, no, maybe.
Yeah.
And obviously America is always strong. We've got an awful lot, and again, we've not even touched upon all the UK titles that we're showing, of which there are many, of course.
Yes.
So UK is always standard. I mean, we've always guaranteed a certain amount of great quality genre pieces every year. Same with America, for different reasons. Obviously, they're the big commercial territory. And I haven't even touched upon the fact that apart from the 70 features, and in fact we close the submissions tomorrow for the short films.
Yes.
So Sheila Rowan-Legg, our short film programmer, she has currently got, I think 400, 500 short films to watch, to choose, because we make that announcement in about 3-4 weeks' time.
Right.
So we'll do 3 big short film showcases, which will each show about 10, 12 shorts in each one. So which brings the festival up to over 100. And I mustn't forget a few of the other special things. There's there's the guys, the Duke Mitchell Film Club. I don't know if you know Evrim and Alex Kidd. So they're taking over the Prince Charles, and we've got the big film party, which is unmissable.
Yes.
Then there's another thing, which is the karaoke night as well.
Yep.
There's the quiz night. If you're not coming to the Frightfest, come to the quiz night on the Wednesday night before the festival. And we've got, I think there's a podcast thing being recorded live with guests.
Yes,
and
the Arrow. Is it the Arrow video with Dan and Sam?
Exactly, with Arrow video. And really, really cool, Andy Nyman and Jeremy Dyson are doing Ghost Stories live.
Great.
So there's going to be a screening of it with them doing the running commentary and talking about the film and interacting with the audience. That's going to be really special as well.
Wonderful.
And there's loads more things like that which I haven't even, because I'm never going to be able to get through everything. But there's so much.
There's too much.
So much stuff.
That's incredible. Absolutely amazing. And I just want to briefly ask you as well. We've been talking for the past few weeks. We've kind of explored different subgenres of horror. And actually, funnily enough, last year I spoke to Alan Jones about the slasher and how, has the slasher kind of gone away a bit, apart from these odd ones that crop up? And actually, great that you said that there's going to be a slasher this year in the programme.
Yes, in fact, there's a few.
And that's great.
There's a good handful. The slasher seems to be coming back again.
I mean, obviously, last year's Tragedy Girls was wonderful,
which I love.
It?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
But we're talking about folk horror at the moment, interestingly. And actually, Kill List, I remember obviously famously seeing that at Frightfest, which
love
was
Kill List.
Just wonderful.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on folk horror? It's a funny kind of subgenre, isn't it? And it feels like one that kind of people have only sort of come up with over the last few years almost as well.
Well, I think for us, growing up with horror, I think it's all for me, that element and that strand has always been around. One of the first movies I remember watching on TV late night, and it really scared me, and I'd have been really, really young. Well, not like 3 or 4 years old, but I would have certainly been early teens, maybe late. Was a movie called Blood on Satan's Claw,
wonderful
which was
film.
genuinely terrifying. Really, really scary.
Yeah.
And that's definitely in the folk horror.
Absolutely.
Strand, along with Witchfinder General, of course.
Yeah, and the Wicker
Man, all the classics. So I don't think that's ever gone away. And I think Ben Wheatley said it's something about England, something under the soil and all around us and in the trees.
Yes.
It's coming, if I can quote Kate Bush or Night of the Demon. It's that kind of thing. It's that really odd atmosphere, which I think you only get in England.
Yeah.
Because, if we were out in the woods somewhere, in England, somewhere where we didn't know, there would be that odd feeling.
Yes.
In the back of your neck, or thinking,
yes,
this is really weird.
It's the kind of
what the hell? Where?
It's the idea that sort of history is all around us, and it's usually quite a dark, macabre history whenever you're anywhere in England. You know.
Whereas I think in America it's a totally different thing, because in England you're never that far from a local pub or a village, which could be good or could be bad, of course, in the American Werewolf style or whatever.
Yes.
But in America, it's so vast that if you're lost, then you could be lost for days and days and days.
Yes.
But in England, there's certainly that feeling, isn't there? That thing that's in the soil and in our blood.
It's wonderful, isn't it? And again, people talk about that kind of is having quite a moment right now. Again, Ben Wheatley's movies, Field in England, and also movies like The Witch that was so huge as well. That seems to be kind of coming back. These things just come in waves, I suppose, don't they?
They do. And I think, obviously, with the troubles in England at the moment with regards to Brexit and the troubles in America with regards to Trump, and we won't get into the politics of either one of those, but I would expect more harder, darker arts to come out from those troubles, because if you look into like the late 60s, early 70s, some of the greatest horror, both in the UK and especially in the States, was created during those really dark periods. And I think we're in a particularly dark period at the moment, which hopefully will breed beautiful art.
Yes.
But also, by the same token, I've noticed this year, I think, we've actually selected a whole bunch of lighter stuff. So maybe in times of darkness, when we're terrified to turn on our phones for fear of what the hell's going on at the moment or whatever, which is really bad. I mean, we're all addicted to it, and it's ludicrous. We weren't doing this a couple of years ago.
Yes.
So I think perhaps the filmmakers and perhaps us as an audience actually want something lighter. Yeah. So we've got enough darkness. So, the Mega Time Squad, The Ranger, which is fun but gory, blah, blah, blah. Maybe we actually need some more light, and maybe it'll get refracted a different way. Perhaps they won't turn to the darkness. Maybe the lighter tones might come through.
Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? I mean, I always think genre is a good way to sort of see what's really going on in the world in some ways when you look back at sort of genre trends and that sort of thing. Fascinating. So a few quick questions at the end I ask everyone to put you on the spot. What was the very first? Do you remember your very first horror movie? What was the film that got you into horror?
First one that got me into horror. Two answers to that. One's not a film. One is a film.
Yeah.
Doctor Who.
Great, of course.
Watching it with my parents, hiding behind the settee, the usual cliche. But I was addicted to Doctor Who. I love Doctor Who so much.
Yeah.
I think I just caught the end of the Pertwees, which were scary ones, and I saw all of the Tom Bakers. So that was my Doctor Who era.
Yes.
First film that scared me, absolutely terrified me, and I still can't watch it through to this day because it's too much, is Don't Look Now.
Oh, yeah.
The ending just kills me every single time. And I remember having to go and sleep with my parents, even though I was, 8, 9, 10, 11, whatever, back in their bed, because I kept replaying the final image, and no spoilers, although I'm sure most of your listeners have seen and love the film. If not, go and watch Don't Look Now.
Oh my God.
Immediately.
Yes.
After the England game, or if you're into football. But yeah, the ending was just replaying in my mind like on an endless loop.
Yeah.
And it's just fantastic. I mean, it's just an amazing film. But one of the exciting things for me, a lot of people ask me the question of, do horror films still scare you?
Yeah.
And yes, they do.
Yeah.
And that's the exciting thing. When I'm ploughing through the dozens, hundreds of submissions, I never get blasé of or inured to the scare. The scares still deliver if they deliver. And that's an exciting frisson to actually find something that genuinely puts the tingles on the back of your throat, back of your neck or throat.
So exciting, isn't it? Amazing. And then the other question I was going to ask you. Oh yeah, what's your favourite horror movie? Do you have it's a difficult question.
Oh, that's blimmin' difficult, isn't it? Well, that changes on a kind of daily basis. Carpenter's Thing remake, Argento's Inferno. Martyrs à l'intérieur.
Yeah.
The Innocents. Don't Look Now. Actually, Don't Look Now is my absolute, because it's the scariest. And I've always said this. Don't Look Now for me is brilliant. Obviously, Texas Chain. There's so many, and that's the thing about horror is there's so much beauty to be found.
Yes.
And nobody's seen everything ever. Yes. Even Kim Newman, he's seen a lot of films, but he hasn't seen it. There's still going to be stuff that he hasn't found. Yes. And the same for all of us. And that's what's exciting when somebody recommends something.
Brilliant.
You're like, I can't wait.
Yeah.
That's like with some of the stuff which I've mentioned today. I know is going to be people's future favourites, and they're going to be buzzing about some of these titles when they come out of the screenings.
Yeah, I love it.
And that's such an exciting
And there
thing.
Is such a volume of them, isn't there? At the moment, there always seems to be great ones that pop up on Netflix, even Netflix originals and all these types of things. It's a great time. Paul, thank you so much for taking the time to join me. So, for anyone out there who is interested and wants to get their pass, get their tickets on Saturday, what advice can you give them? It can be quite a scramble, can't it, to get it?
Yeah, I say good luck, and I hope the website doesn't crash.
Yeah.
Please, Ian, please, Helen, please, it should be fine. No, the tickets go on sale on, I think it's midday.
Yes.
I think it's midday on Saturday. But if you want to check out the website, that will give you all the details of all the movies that are showing, with the times and the trailers, where they're available, and the posters and the stills and the synopsis and stuff like that, which is www.frightfest.co.uk.
And you've got a choice of either getting it's a pass for the whole 5 days, a day pass, or sort of individual tickets.
Yeah,
is that
so
right?
What we do, we have like the weekend pass, which allows you 5 days of excitement over the screens, which allows you to see pretty much everything. Or, you can't see everything because otherwise that would be impossible. And then we do the day passes as well. And then in about 3 or 4 weeks' time, the single tickets go on sale as well. So that's for each individual movie.
Wonderful.
But yeah, if you get the weekend pass, A, you get good value for money.
Yeah.
B, you're going to be able to see some bloody amazing stuff, and C, you'll get a nice goodie bag full of goodies.
Amazing. Love it. Yeah, I would say get the weekend pass.
Yeah,
definitely.
if you can. If there's any still available.
Yes, oh God, I know. It's turning into like Glastonbury. It's like you have to sit there with 3 screens and click refresh every few seconds.
I know. We used to do the sleepy queue.
Yes.
Where people would queue for like, God, people would come for like 2 days. So people start queuing on the Thursday when the tickets were on sale on the Saturday. And it was great. It was like a real big party event. But I would still love to do that, but where could we do that on Leicester Square? Because everything's changed now. It's all changed.
Yeah.
You know, to have people hanging around all night, it just wouldn't really work, sadly.
No.
So,
yeah. Oh, well, get in there quick, Saturday.
Yes, good luck to everybody.
Brilliant. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was brilliant.
And there we have it. Very, very exciting. A huge thank you there to the brilliant Paul McEvoy for joining me. So don't forget, if any of those movies sound appealing to you, if the idea of Frightfest sounds appealing to you, if you've never been but you're worried about maybe going by yourself, please don't be. Come along, grab yourself a ticket. I think this year in particular, it could be exceptional. Tickets go on sale on Saturday, the 30th of June. I'm going to list all of the details of the website and how you can get tickets in the show notes. So please do, if you're at all tempted, come along and join the fun. And maybe we can all go for a group drink. I know there's been a lot of chat in the discussion group. That's the Evolution of Horror discussion group. You can find that on Facebook. And a lot of the listeners and guests on the podcast are all going to be going this year. And we are all trying to arrange some sort of drink meetup at some point across the weekend. So even more of an excuse to come along this year. Thank you so much for listening. Normal business will resume tomorrow. We'll be back for the next episode of our folk series. I'm going to be joined by Jen Handorf to discuss the Blood on Satan's Claw and Witchfinder General. So join us then for all of this and more on the Evolution of Horror.